Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to Pixel Village. And I'm Radha Krishnan. All right, this is another day, another evening, in fact, meeting the mentors. This is the 10th consecutive day that we've been here introducing our mentors to you. There you are, my regular mistake.
And I'm Radha Krishnan.
All right, so you guys are listening to me properly. Yes, thank you very much. And yes, wow, enough people in YouTube already. Wonderful. But let me see who all are here. Okay, lots of them. Okay, Moody Bukhari, Ashit Shetty. Hi, Ashit. How are you? Ashit, we want you on this show one of these days. Anudev, Hemlata Saini, Rushiraj, Rakesh Handa. Hi, Rakesh. You are here today early enough. We have a mood swinger. Thank you very much for your wishes. Arjun Sabu, Mukesh Damodaran, Anwar Tanawala. Thank you, Anwar Bhai, for being here now. JMJ is here. I think he came way back. I mean, he came almost 15 minutes back and he is waiting. Nicolas DiCosta. Good evening, Sugam Ano. Yes, Sugam. Thank you very much. And we have Phila Neil. I hope I got the name right. Thank you very much. Gautam Mandalia, Omkar Upahar, Mayush Dingaurkar, Gokul Krishna, Omkar. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate your time, and thank you for being here today with us. Well, you've read our the communication that we've been sending out to people. Today we're going to be talking about food, architecture, and portraiture, and fine art. Well, this mentor we're going to be presenting to you today is all this rolled into one. And then you must be wondering, well, can someone do all these things together? Isn't specialization better? All those questions, of course, you can ask him those questions directly to him. Besides all this, he is an amazing teacher. When you listen to him, you will know how meticulous he is in his teaching methods. He's been teaching in various photography institutes in Delhi, and he's also a mentor in Pixel Village, and he is also a Canon Pro. So if you have any Canon related questions, maybe you can ask him along with the others. Well, Nalla Konar is saying, good evening, Radha sir, looking forward. Thank you. Prasanna sir, thank you. Adiraj Prince saying, glad to see you back. Thank you very much. So without losing any time, let's dive right in. Before we start, let me tell you, to all the new people out here, let me tell you that Pixel Village is an online photography education platform. We originally started as a YouTube channel about 2 years back, and thank you for your support, and we are considered to be one among the leading photography YouTube channels in the country. Well, we could not have done it without your support, so thank you very much. And about a year back, we started a Pixel Village website precisely for online photography education, affordable online photography education in multiple Indian languages. And I'd like to play a small video for you before I actually start today's session, and here it goes.
How I go and shoot a wedding?
You want to create something in the world, you have to come out of the condition. I am a lifestyle photographer based out of New Delhi. पिक्सल विलेज का जो अप्रोच है वो जरा अलग है.
That's right. That's right. That's Pixel Village mentors right there. And I'd like to quickly take you through the Pixel Village website too. Yeah, you landed in the right page. Pixel Village not only teaches while you learn, you can also win some fabulous prizes too. So in June, we are giving away 5 different prizes to the people who have enrolled in one of our classes. Last month's giveaways have already happened, and we will be intimating the winners soon. In fact, the draft is ready, and we'll be sending it out Monday morning. And this is our website. And here we have studio lighting, beginners, fundamentals, wedding photography, fashion photography. Beginner fundamentals, all that available. And here is our architecture, food, wedding, all those classes available. And these are our amazing mentors. There are all these mentors in Pixel Village. They are some of the finest mentors in the country, and they are here taking their different classes for you. And we not only have this, we also have an online an Android app. Okay, I will add the link to the Android app here in the comments so that you can download download the app and start using them. Everything that is available on the website is also available in the app. We have free content. We have free webinars like this. We have paid webinars. We have premium paid content. We have blogs. Reviews will come in soon. So that's how our website is laid out for you. And we would also like to hear from you as to what you wish to have in our website, and we'll try and bring it to you. And today's guest, Ravi Dhingra sir, is an amazing lifestyle photographer. He teaches food photography and architecture photography and portraiture in Pixel Village. Let's take a small glimpse of how he does that in Pixel Village.
आज हमारा जो सेशन है वो फूड फोटोग्राफी पे है. जब हम फूड फोटोग्राफी करते हैं तो क्या इक्विपमेंट हमारे लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है. हमारा जो मेन एम रहता है फूड फोटोग्राफी का, खाने को अच्छा दिखाना. Today we are going to talk about portraiture. If you're planning to do glamour photography or beauty photography or fashion photography, even then this session is going to help you. The endeavor is to make the subject relaxed in front of the camera and get the right natural expressions so your pictures look good in the photograph. सबसे पहले ये समझना है कि आर्किटेक्चर क्या है. You cannot interfere with the design of the space. यहाँ देखेंगे लाइट शैडो का जो इंटरप्ले हो रहा है, इट लुक्स इंटरेस्टिंग इन योर पिक्चर्स. यहाँ पर एज ए फोटोग्राफर आपके स्किल्स सामने आते हैं कि आपने क्या कैप्चर करना है. अगर आपने एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन नहीं किया तो एज ए फोटोग्राफर आप अपने आप के साथ जस्टिस नहीं कर रहे.
That's right. That's what we do at Pixel. That's what we do at Pixel Village, and that's what Ravi sir has for you at Pixel Village. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring Mr. Ravi Dhingra onto the stage. Let's listen to him. Let's listen about his journey as a photographer, his photography life, and his beliefs. And of course, you can ask questions. Ask him to explain those questions that you may have at the end of the session. Okay, so let's get Ravi sir straight in. Good evening, sir. Welcome to
Good
Pixel.
evening, everyone. Good evening, Radha sir. Good evening, everyone.
We don't have to particularly welcome you because you're a part of Pixel Village anyway. But nevertheless,
thank you for inviting me to this particular session. And I see some people from Europe also. It will be good afternoon for them. So good afternoon.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah,
oh, wonderful. Okay.
One gentleman is from the Netherlands and one is from Ireland. Stephen.
Wonderful.
And,
Stefan von, I don't know how the next name is pronounced. Wick, probably. Greetings from Netherlands. Thank you. Rashi saying thank you. Wonderful. JMJ saying thank you. Wow, there are so many people. Canon professional, great. 90D here. So he's a Canon man there. All right. You have Cameraman India. Good evening. Both of you are my inspiration. Thank you very much. So now that we have a wonderful, audience here waiting to listen to you, I'm going to get out of this place and I'm going to give you the center stage. And please, the evening is yours. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be out of this place. Whenever you want me, just give me a shout, and
I'm going to make a small presentation. After that, you're most welcome to join me, and we'll take the sessions together after that.
Absolutely. So whenever you want, when you're ready to make the presentation, give me a shout, and I'll start sharing the screen.
Yeah, you can start the presentation part now, and we can. Then
the presentation has to come from your side, sir.
Okay, I'll share my presentation.
Yeah, your screen.
Okay. I'll share my screen. And then we can proceed with the question and answer session after this.
Wonderful. Yes.
So good evening, everyone, again. So as Radha sir said, that I do portrait, I do fashion, and I do architecture and interiors. I do food also, and I'm into fine art photography also. As far as one consolidated term is concerned, I call it as lifestyle photography, which include product, people, food, and architecture and interiors. Then I do fine art photography. So there's a difference between fine art photography, which I do, and the other genre I said, that lifestyle photography. One way I do it out of my passion, which is my fine art photography, which may give me money, which may not give me money, which sometimes doesn't give you as much of monetary rewards as compared to the commercial aspect. So to survive in this world, you need to do some commercial work also. For that, I do lifestyle photography. So I'm going to share a small presentation. It's basically about my work, which I've been doing for past 20 years. I was into corporate finance earlier. I've studied accounts and finance. So it's a hobby turned profession for me. So last 20 years, I'm in this industry now, and it has been a great period for me. I've learned a lot. I say every day is a learning experience. So before I talk further, let me just share this small presentation, and then we take it forward. So as
yes, you are on the screen. Yeah, you are on the screen, sir.
Okay, that's presentation is visible now, sir?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, then I'll start with the thing. So as I mentioned, I am a lifestyle photographer as far as commercial part is concerned, and I do fine art photography for my passion. So why I got into photography is the big question mark. As I mentioned, it is a hobby turned profession for me. You want to express yourself in some way or the other. Some people write poems, some people write fiction, some people paint. Unfortunately, I'm very bad with sketching and painting. words don't come easily to me. So I thought photography is one way to express myself. So when I got into photography, the commercial aspect was not there in my mind. I got into photography to express myself. But later on, I realized that once you leave your all other work, like you leave your existing business, which I was into corporate finance. So when I left that, you need something to survive. So for survival, I started doing some commercial photography. So that commercial photography, I'm going to share my work, which I've done for past 20 years or so. Then we'll talk about it later on. So first, I'm starting with food photography. So I'll quickly go through these slides. You can have a look at them.
Are these all shot for various shot on assignment?
These are all assignment-based for photography. So that's what
Commercial
I was
work.
saying. That's what I'm saying. I do two kinds of photography. One, personal work, which is my fine art photography work, and other thing is basically commercial work, which includes food, architecture, interiors, and product,
right.
and portraiture. I do a lot of advertisement campaigns also. So advertisement campaigns involve all these aspects, basically food, interiors, architecture, people, everything. So what I'm presently sharing is my commercial work, which I've been doing for various clients. So this all is client-based work.
Sure.
I shoot for a lot of hospitality industry. Hospitality industry means hotels. So when I shoot for hotels and restaurants, so I'm able to shoot their food also. I'm able to shoot their interiors and architecture also. And at times they ask me to take pictures of the chef and other staff also, corporate. I do a lot of corporate portfolios also, like senior management thing. So hospitality industry is one of my areas, key areas where I work on. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
So here is my architecture and interiors projects. So luckily, when I shoot architecture interiors, and as I'm related to hospitality industry, I get to travel a lot. So I've traveled all across the country.
Yeah.
I get to travel a lot. So this was always this is one bonus of my work. Get to travel a lot.
Where is this place?
This place
Which
is in
is this
Mukteshwar. This is near
Mukteshwar.
Nainital, Bhowali.
Okay.
Bhowali, somewhere above Nainital, around that area.
Okay.
And next, this is Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. So
Okay.
I was in Kerala just before virus thing started. In January. I was in Kerala,
Wow.
Kochi. I was shooting
I think I saw some images in Facebook that you shared. Yes.
It was published in Architectural Digest. The story got published in Architectural Digest. Okay. So it was a typical Kerala house, a traditional Kerala house.
Yes.
Opposite the beach.
I know. I saw that.
So this is an office. I do a lot of work with architects and interior designers also. So whenever architects complete a project, they hire me to document that particular project. So this documentation, they do it for the purpose of showing to the further clients. Then they keep on submitting entries for various awards. So out there, these pictures are used. Then some of them get published also in the magazines. So it serves three purposes for the architects who are my regular clients.
Oh.
So, and I do a lot of shoots for stores also, home stores.
Yeah.
Who sell furniture and soft furnishing and etc.
Yes. Oh, this is nice.
So this is a cafe, again shot around 3-4 months back only. So
wow, we have viewers from America, all the way from New Orleans.
Okay,
George.
This is a very famous. Oh wow,
Thank
that's
you.
nice. Hi George. So this is
Jatin Das.
Jatin Das. Yeah, very famous painter of our country.
Yes.
I think left person is Mr. Mohit Chauhan. He's a singer, Bollywood singer. Right person is Ravi Bajaj. He's a fashion designer.
Ravi. Yeah, absolutely.
Ravi Bajaj. Left person again is a Hollywood actor. He works for the serial called NICS, Next, whatever you call it. I think I've not watched it, but
Okay.
he works. He was here in India. He has relatives here, so he said, "Why don't you do a small portfolio for me?" So I did for him. On the
Oh,
right side is a
okay.
very famous model, Leonika Chatterjee.
Okay. Oh, that's Noyanika,
Yes.
of course. She
Yeah,
was Karl Lagerfeld's model. She was picked
yeah,
up
he
from
was.
Paris airport. She was in
Yeah.
Paris, Charles de Gaulle airport on some shoot. She was traveling,
Okay.
and Karl Lagerfeld saw her in the airport and
Okay.
picked her up from the airport and took her, to her fashion
Wow.
house, and she modeled for him ever since. So I
Yeah,
happened to, I've shot with her for a
yeah.
campaign for sometime, way back in the early 90s. Early
This was
90s,
for
I've
a
done a campaign.
yeah. This was
Yeah.
for a jewelry brand. I did
Okay.
many years back, around 12 years
Yeah.
back. I think she was much younger
Yeah.
at that time. But I was younger at
Yeah.
that time. So
We all were.
we all were younger at
I don't know why
one
I
point
have to talk about this age in every session. I said, look, I'm always young, so I talk about it.
No,
I
that
get an
is always there.
opportunity to talk about it every time.
No,
Yeah,
that is definitely there. We are always young at heart. That's how our juices, creative juices,
absolutely. Creative juice. Absolutely.
keep flowing. So
Absolutely.
every day is a new experience for us. Every day, and during this lockdown, I've been shooting every day now. Like it's almost like 4 months now. I have a
Wow.
Canon camera lying with me, two Canon bodies lying with me for which came for testing purposes, and
Okay.
I have not been able to return to them because they're because of the lockdown. So I make it a
Yes.
point to use it for 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. I do a
Is
lot of
that
bird photography.
wonderful? Wonderful.
So there are a lot of
Okay.
birds around my, which I see through my balcony. So I'm trying to get into bird photography also. Maybe after
Okay.
1 year or so, I'll do a session with you on birds photography.
Oh yeah, wonderful. There were questions yesterday about bird photography, and I was trying to send them to Sudhir Sivaraman. And if
No,
you
I'm
can, why
just,
not? Why not?
no, I'm just joking. My photography, bird photography is way low below the names you are mentioning. Sudhir is the great
The
name.
authority. Yeah.
Authority.
We have,
So,
by the way, we have viewers from Nigeria today. We have New Orleans, Nigeria. We have Assam. We have wonderful. Hey, thank you very much, people, for joining. We have Doris Eje from Nigeria. We have good. You have, I thought South Indian names are difficult to pronounce, and Imole, I only got his surname. And our friend from Netherlands was saying that we got his family name wrong, and I was apologizing to him, for getting his family name wrong. Anyway, thank you very much, people. This is really, really, this is the steroid. This is the excitement for
absolutely.
me and Ravi sir to come here and to talk to the audience for a good 2 hours. I've been doing it for quite some time regularly. Every day in the evening. Thank you very much.
So this was till now I was showing
That's
you my
right. He's
commercial.
saying, George from New Orleans is saying that I love good photography. Photography is a universal language. That's what brought him here to this
Yeah.
humble channel of ours. Thank you very much, George.
And with
Yes.
photographs, you don't need words. With photographs, you don't need words actually to explain.
Yeah.
Photograph is a self-explanatory medium to
Okay.
express. So till now, I was showing you my commercial work. Let me just show you my personal work. So I came up with this particular book also. I collaborated with the poet. I gave her
Okay.
my photographs, and she wrote words. She gave words to my photographs. Though I said that the picture should explain on their own, but sometimes it's better to have two interpretations of the same subject. I have my own view of what that particular photograph, and this poet, she gave different meaning to those, sometimes different meanings to those words, to the pictures also. So the viewer could get to see two different perspectives of the same photograph, and obviously, own interpretation is always there. So these are some pictures I'm showing you from that. And I did my solo exhibition also. I have participated in many fine art exhibitions, but this was the
Okay.
first solo exhibition I did around in 2017. It's almost like 3 years now. So
Okay.
it had work for almost like my 10 years of work, which
Okay.
was there displayed. And this book also has almost like 20 years of my photography journey.
Okay. Oh, this is
So,
nice. Amazing.
so I just try to, my interest is to play with light and shadows and forms, shapes, lines. These are a few things which fascinate me.
Okay.
Like you can see this particular picture also.
Oh,
Again,
this
lines
is
are very
nice. That's
important.
Qutub Minar?
Yeah, Qutub Minar. I was I'm about to say something. Like when I
Yeah.
go for my commercial assignments, I don't
Yeah.
miss an opportunity to click something personal also. Because when
Mm.
you are there, you have to keep your eyes open around you, and you never know what comes across. So I was shooting this home store which is opposite Qutub Minar. So when I was shooting this furniture and cushions and all other things, when I turned
Mm.
around, I saw this view of Qutub Minar through the curtain, and that really
Mm.
fascinated me. So I just turned around my camera to the other side and took this picture. So I always
Okay.
tell my students also that whenever you do an assignment, just keep your eyes open. You never know what opportunity comes in your way, and you can start building your personal work also, because personal work is something which keeps you going. Commercial works may become boring at times because you have.
Uh,
There's another thing I want to tell you here is that that's my interpretation. When you do commercial work, it is always guided. When I say
yeah.
guided means like food photography. Let's take the example of food photography. Food, the chef has prepared the dish. Now food has to look good. So chef, then you have a food stylist. So the food stylist is basically presenting the food on a shooting table. So your chef,
Correct.
the chef is guiding, the food stylist is guiding, and the looks of the food is guiding you to do that particular shot. Similarly, same thing happens with architecture also. There's a design element involved in architecture also. So you have to ensure that when you are doing this commercial work, all the client's requirements are met. Basically, the client is guiding you. There are certain procedures, sometimes some certain angles, certain composition uh, rules you have to follow out there. When it comes to personal work, you can do anything. Like this picture is through a curtain. So cut through a curtain, a client will not accept a picture which is not a direct picture for his product. But for my personal work, yes, a picture through something sheer through a screen is also a piece of art for me. So keep your eyes open. Whenever you get an opportunity, just do your personal work parallelly.
Yeah.
So this is a monastery. It is basically Dharamshala, where you have Dalai Lama's temple.
Okay.
So I saw these monks. It was a totally foggy day. So this is their library. So these in the evening time, you can see outdoors. You can't actually see anything. You just see fog, and
Yep.
through the window also fog is entering the room. So that really caught my attention. I'm talking more about these pictures because I'm very passionate about these. I have stories to tell about these pictures.
Yes.
So one day maybe we can do about fine art photography where I talk about these pictures, why I got this picture.
Absolutely. I keep saying that when you do a commercial assignment, you are trying to bring someone else's vision into reality. Whereas here, it is your baby. So you tend to, be a little more closer to these images than your commercial photography because, usually when you do a commercial assignment, you don't exactly agree with every point which the director kind of tells you or the client wants you to do. Here in this case, it's your baby, so you identify with that creativity much more than the other one. Other one is more like that's why it's called an assignment. I mean, you're paid to do a certain kind of work. Yeah. All right. So please carry on, sir.
It is my creation. So I don't care whether people will like it or not like it. But out there, I have to make sure that the client likes it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is one of my toughest photographs. It took me 2 hours wait to get this perfect shot. You see a shadow of the man walking and 2 feet on top. So he was moving. It's in, again, Kangla, Himachal Pradesh. So I was observing this person. He was moving from there. But I took multiple pictures, but I never got the perfect shot there, where the shadow is full and the person's feet is also visible on top.
Yeah.
So again,
so you had pre-visualized that image and you were waiting there for that perfect moment
Yes.
to happen.
When I went there, I had not anticipated some kind of picture, but when I saw him walking, he passed through, passed in front of me. I saw this shadow getting formed on the wall. That fascinated me. So I thought that if the shadow is full and if I'm able to capture it, it's going to be a wonderful moment. So I kept on waiting for almost 2 hours. Took multiple shots, something like 30-40 shots to get the perfect this thing. Because sometimes this person used to sit somewhere. He was an employee there. So he was just carrying something, bringing it down, bringing it up. So it took me some time to take this particular shot. But this is one of my favorite pictures because I've done a lot of efforts. Some like Qutub Minar picture is an accidental photo. I just turned around and saw this. And this is a made photograph where I actually anticipated that this is going to happen. And I anticipated that if my fingers press the button at the right time, I'll be able to get the shot.
Wow. Okay.
This is another one, which is like a Darwish Sufi dance, where they swirling dance basically.
Yeah,
so They get into a trance kind of a thing.
Yes, they do.
They do multiple things out there. This is from a circus. Circus safety net basically. And I was lying down to take this particular picture. The safety net is around 2 feet above the ground. So I barely managed to slid under the safety net. These people were setting up the safety net actually for the circus because it's before the circus time. So these people were setting the safety net. So it's actually around 2 feet above the ground level. So between the safety net and the ground, it's just like I could just slid under it and point my camera upwards. That's it. That's the kind of space I had to take this particular.
Very interesting image, this one is. And it's looking very nice in black and white.
Even in color, because the color version also, you have blues and reds and blues and oranges behind. The 2 shades of blacks and grays you see, they're basically yellow, orange and blues. They also create a nice dramatic effect in the color version also. So I think that's it from me. As far as my slide is concerned, now we can start discussing about these pictures. I can take up your questions and.
So we have people from Nigeria, people from New Orleans, from Netherlands, and we also have people from Ireland and Bangladesh. We have a regular from Bangladesh. We have a few usually have audience from even Pakistan. I've not seen him today. We have Justice sir here. Love the way Justice sir is here. Exploring light. There you are. And there was Rahul YouTube. He attended your session in Future Forward a couple of weeks back, and he's very happy that he attended your session. He was saying that it is extremely helpful for him.
That's nice. That's nice of you to say. Nice of you to say really kind words.
And he is Justice sir is saying he's from Faridabad. Well, he wants to say I'm stuck in Faridabad and I can't move out. That's what he wanted to say. All right. Okay. So a whole lot of people. Thank you very much. So you said we have Bahrain. Jairaj Shiva from Bahrain is here. So you were a marketing person.
I was into corporate finance. I've studied accounting.
Corporate finance. You're a money man.
Yeah, I'm a money man.
Money man. Changed profession and came to something which is diabolic. Of course, money is also creative. I'm not saying that anything can be. I keep saying anything, even driving mundane things like driving a taxi or operating a lift or cleaning the corridor. Anything can be creative.
One thing I want to say here is, in finance and accounts, you cannot be creative. If you're creative, then you're behind bars.
No, you can be creative in many different ways, I'm sure. So today, did you read about today's thing about Jio? Jio got some $13 billion worth of money coming in from different investors, orchestrated by his Mr. Ambani's right-hand man, Mr. Modi. He very unassuming man, but he single-handedly, probably, of course, he had a team,
Yeah.
but he was the front man who negotiated the whole deal with, with various people, and it's 13 billion as investment has come into the country. Okay, yeah, of course. So what made you shift from the money? That obviously was a safe job, and definitely there is security and all that. Suddenly, from there, I know few more people, including our own Jassi Saab, who was shifted from an entirely different profession, unrelated profession, to become a photographer. What has made you, make that jump? Because the reason why I'm asking is, I'm sure there are a lot of guys in our audience today are also contemplating, sitting on the fence, trying to gather sufficient courage, to make that choice. So what was your reason?
Photography was always a hobby. It's that
Okay.
I didn't have a camera. My brother used to have a small camera, so whenever he was in army, so whenever he used to come home, get his camera, so I used to experiment with that particular camera. But even without a camera, I used to see a lot of photographs. I was looking at various magazines at that time. There used to be a magazine called Illustrated Weekly, which was like a newspaper half folded, and it was edited by Mr. Khushwant Singh. So it had a full page spread, which used to carry a black and white photo. So I used to love that. Then I was subscribing to this magazine, Reader's Digest, and Reader's Digest used to have nice pictures at that time. I have not read that magazine for quite some time, but they used to carry these articles which used to have nice pictures. But I would say 1984 was one year which really changed my look towards photography. That was the year two incidents happened in India. Two major incidents happened in India. One was Indira Gandhi's assassination, and then Bhopal gas tragedy. I think these are major historical events as far as Indian context is concerned. And at that time, I was subscribing to India Today magazine, and Mr. Raghurai was the photo editor of that particular magazine. And the way these two stories were covered in these two stories, these two events were covered in the magazine. There used to be something like, even now you have photo essays, but there were a lot of photo essays during that time around these two topics. So really that got my attention, that yes, even a photo can tell a story. You don't need text to bring out a story. You only as a big full-page picture with two words written along with that. Even without the words, it can convey a story. So that really got me into the serious part of photography. Previously, it was just looking at some nice pictures, admiring them, and just carrying on, going ahead. But that really made me think that yes, photography can be one option. But unfortunately, at that time, I was in first year of my college, so there were just three options: either you become engineer, or you become a doctor, or you become a chartered accountant, or choose a finance position. I was very bad in science. All Newton's third law always worked for me. For every action, there is opposite reaction. So I wrote nothing, I got nothing. So science was totally ruled out. So I opted for commerce. So I started studying. I did my bachelor's in commerce, and side by side I was doing my cost accountancy also. So at that time, photography as a career never I never thought of photography as a career, because I wanted to sustain and I wanted to prove something. I wanted to make a life out of my studies and everything. So I chose the corporate finance option. I worked at certain places, then I started my own firm also. But it was getting very monotonous. As I mentioned before, you can't be creative with numbers. You have to, that feeling of expressing something was always there. And that those stories which I talked about in 1984, I came across many stories like that, but nothing to beat those kind of powerful images. So those images are still registered in my mind. So then I thought, let me, and during that time I had visited USA for personal work, for a pleasure trip. So I bought an SLR camera, Nikon camera at that time. So when I got that camera to India, at that time I was shooting in auto mode only, just Flash used to pop up when the light was low. So that camera was lying in my cupboard for many years. It was 1996 I got that camera. So for 2-3 years the camera was like, and it was an expensive camera. You won't believe, I paid almost ₹1,00,000 in 1996 to buy that
Wow.
camera and
That's
lens.
a lot of money in 96.
That's a lot of money if you convert that into dollars.
Yeah.
But at that time, I thought, since I'm here, so let me buy this camera. But then I realized that I've already spent ₹1,00,000 on the camera and it is lying in the cupboard. So I should do something about it. So I bought a few books. Now I'm going to talk about the learning part of photography. So I bought a few books. I think John Hedgeco, everybody knows John Hedgeco. Anybody who's
Yes.
from the film-based camera days, film-based camera
Yes.
era.
Yes.
So John Hedgeco was the only one whose books were readily available in India. So I bought a couple of books by John Hedgeco, started learning, but I couldn't make a head or tail out of it because they were very technical. So I thought, let me just learn photography formally. So formal education in photography, I feel, is quite essential because when you are interacting one-on-one with a mentor or when there's somebody teaching you and guiding you through your presentations and through life experiences, so it creates much more impact than going through the books. So I joined this one-year course. I studied photography for 1 year. This course was divided into 2 parts, basic and advanced. So I did both the courses. Some people did the basic and left, but I made sure that I did the advanced course also. So when I was doing this course, a friend of mine, my office, next door neighbor in my office, he used to run an ad agency. So he became a good friend. So he said, since you're learning photography, I have a couple of assignments. So rather than handing over to some outside photographer, the regular photographer, why don't you give it a try? So that's how I got into the commercial part of it. Initially, I never had thought that I'll do the commercial part. It was more of a hobby kind of a thing. But that gave me a kick because I had the technical knowledge. Technical knowledge means books didn't give me that particular technical knowledge, but classroom exercise, that going to the classroom every evening, thrice a week, that gave me enough knowledge to be confident about my equipment, to be confident about the light part. So I did that 2, 3, 4 assignments. So then I got, it gave me some confidence that I can go to the outside world also and pitch in and get some assignments. Luckily, there was not much of competition at that time. Right now, everybody is a photographer. Whoever picks a camera is a photographer. There were no mobiles with cameras. They were basic. They were very basic phones. There was no internet connectivity, high-speed internet connectivity. So there were. I would say there was very less competition at that time, and it was more technical because it was we were using films. They were not digital cameras. They were not DSLRs. They were pure SLRs and medium format cameras. So I was using a medium format camera also that used back Polaroids and all those things. So we did all that kind of photography also. Since it was technical, so not many people ventured into it. So luckily, I got some decent breaks to start with. I started working for a couple of magazines also. Some ad agencies also started giving me work. So I was pretty busy and I was making decent amount of money for many years. Till the time digital came, cameras came, and even now it's not that key. Work is not there, but yes, we have to kind of be more competitive. Though I don't reduce my rates as such, I have a certain level of experience. So I work at particular experience only. But what I want to emphasize is that learning is very, very important. Even now, I look at, like, even in Pixel Village also, there are so many other mentors whose work I quite like. They're quite inspiring for me also. So whenever I get time, I keep on looking at those videos just to get, even if I feel that I know 99%, that 1% which I don't know, or which I feel I was not doing right, that makes a lot of difference. So a learner, it may be 100%. For me, it's 1%, but that 1% is more than 100% for a beginner. So the learning process always goes out, and luckily for Pixel Village, you have got such a beautiful, such a mature content, which other YouTube channels are not able to offer. So that's very, very.
Thank you.
Thanks to Radha sir that he has created this platform, and it's just the beginning.
It's definitely really fulfilling. The whole process of setting up Pixel Village, starting the YouTube channel, and putting all of you together in Pixel Village as mentors and creating learning content is extremely fulfilling. And well, I'm just excited about the fact that I mean, we are having an evening chat, and the whole world is here listening and being a part of this conversation, and probably also wanting to contribute or even ask questions and things like that, which is like it's, for me, it's unbelievable. I mean, it would not have been possible without Pixel Village. And the reason why I started Pixel Village, or the whole thought happened, was, well, like you are a Canon mentor, I was a Nikon mentor. I was a Nikon ambassador for a very long time in the country. So Nikon used to take me to various places, including in Himalayas country. I was to go to Lagos to talk about DSLR-based cinematography, but it did not happen. But I went to Nairobi, went to the entire Middle East, and many parts of India talking. And in most of these places, I mean, I make it a point to interact with the audience. And the biggest complaint or biggest request they all had was that they're saying, we don't have enough people who are ready to share their understanding with us, especially in small times, because photography is such a competitive profession. People seldom share their understanding with their fellow photographers, and they perceive everyone as competition. Well, this is human. I mean, I'm not denying the fact that I need to take care of myself first, but I thought maybe there is a big dearth of dependable, affordable photography education in the country. And then I realized that it is true everywhere. Bangladesh and Pakistan and the Middle East and Africa, everywhere. No, Basse, we did not come to Lagos. We were to come to Lagos, but we did not. Nikon Middle East was bringing us there, but it did not happen. We reached till Nairobi, and then we came back, of course. All right. So we put it together. I stopped my full-time photography profession and got into creating Pixel Village. So this is my kind of a mission that look at just the sheer amount of photographers around, and they all need, the lucky few are able to create, learn, educate themselves. The very minuscule few are able to go to a formal institute and get educated. What about the rest? They either don't know where to go to, they don't have any access, probably they don't have enough money to go and learn. So that's why we thought this is probably the right way to reach out to maximum people. So we're reaching out to Bangladesh and Pakistan and Nepal and Southeast Sri Lanka, to now here today we have people from Nigeria here, and I see people from Netherlands and Ireland. Well, that's big for me, big for us, in fact. So with that point, what he was trying to say is that, look, even someone like him, even with all that backdrop, he also needed to go to a formal place to learn the fundamentals, then before starting out as a full-time lifestyle commercial photographer. So yes, there are lots of people agreeing to whatever we say. Bhavesh is from Pune. Bhavesh, in fact, is a pet photographer here. Bhavesh Karia is from Mumbai, and he's a pet photographer. He actually came to Mumbai.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Not many people are doing pet photography. It's a
No,
very
not
niche
many,
kind of
not many. So he had a lot of anxieties and doubts about lighting a pet, and
Yeah.
he came
Okay.
to our studio in Pixel Village. We were having a lighting workshop, and he came and he interacted with Dhananjay More sir, who was the mentor on that day. And then after that, subsequently, we spent a lot of time together trying to figure out his problems, and we gave them some solutions. And now he's into pet photography.
That's nice.
Yeah. He's a great animal lovers too, and he also has a pet, of course. Yeah. All right. Oh, we have Ishan Yadav from Spain here. Okay, so wonderful. I'm excited. Thank you. All right. So let's take questions now. If you have any questions related to any of the types of photography that Ravi sir is doing, or photography in general, equipment, gear, advice, etc., please ask, and we'll be more than happy to to kind of discuss, help, share all that. In the meantime, I would like to tell you that tomorrow we have PV Subramaniam. He is coming to you all the way from Austin, Texas, and he is an amazing art photographer, and he shoots large format negatives and transparency. He shoots large format black and whites now. He shoots small format negatives. He shoots digital. He knows the whole works, and he's going to be here talking about art, photography as an art. So same time tomorrow, 5 to 6, and the day after we will have Ashima Narain. She's a Nat Geo photographer. She's a filmmaker. She's going to be discussing about her photography and, of course, women in photography. Okay, so please tune in tomorrow and day after. And of course, don't forget to subscribe or sign in at pixelvillage.com. I'm going to add the Pixel Village, app. Let me quickly get that app for you. Let me copy it and let me paste that in our comments column. There you go. Use that link. Use the link which is there in the comments column to download our app. Use them. Let us know. Rate us. Let us know what you think about the app. We want to improve it, but we would like to have your feedback as well. Okay. Jenish Harzora. I'm so sorry, my friend. Jenish Harzora is asking, sir, is it necessary to calibrate a monitor?
I think
you want me to pick it up?
7 days.
Yeah, we had Wesley. Yeah,
Wesley wrong.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You can.
We had one session, Jenish. You can look up one of the lives that we did about last Thursday. Not the one which went by, the one before that. We had this mentor from Malaysia called Wesley Wong, who's a color expert. He talked about the importance of color management, and calibrating a monitor was a part of that discussion. In fact, Netherlands, where Stefan is from, that's a place one of the finest monitors are made, called Barco. They make some of the best in the world. Of course, can't afford it. You need to, I mean, these days, even banks don't have money. You probably have to sell your kidney. I mean, they're so expensive. Barcos are amazing monitors. All right. So, yes, Jenish, it is, it's not necessary, but it will really help you. See, if you want to just see your image and, process it and consume it yourself, it's okay. But the moment you start doing photography for money and you become a commercial photographer, then you need to abide to a certain standards, and color standard is one of them. And calibrating monitor, profiling your camera, profiling your printers, and maintaining a color management system in your workflow is absolutely important, necessary. And we can actually spend a couple of hours discussing how to do it, but unfortunately this is not the right time or place. But to answer your questions in a very shortest possible way, yes, it is necessary. If you care about your image, it is absolutely okay. You can work with what you have if you are consuming your image yourself and you're shooting for fun. All right. Okay. Is it important? I'm so sorry. Is it necessary? What are the questions?
So there's this question about portrait photography. Bhargav has asked picture
Where,
style.
Bhargav? I'm just trying to look.
In the beginning. It's like, okay,
can you pick it? Is it possible for you to pick that?
Bhargav has asked this question. Portrait photography, picture style setting, pro के बारे में बताइए. Tell me something about the picture style setting. So when we talk of portraiture, sometimes we have images which are very, very kind of evenly lit, where the light is very soft, and sometimes we do very high contrast portraits also. So what I suggest is that you start shooting in RAW. So when you shoot in RAW, your camera doesn't really need a picture style. While editing, you can create that particular style of your own. And lighting is whenever you're doing the lighting, whether you do soft lighting, whether you do harsh lighting. So that depends on the look of the photograph. But RAW image will give you, will make your job easier to kind of work with the image. When you're shooting JPEG, the camera settings take care of that particular style. So your camera will have neutral, standard, vivid, etc. But if you're not planning to shoot RAW, then I think standard or neutral thing is better, because later on while editing you can bring out, add contrast. But once you have high contrast image in your a vivid image or high contrast image, then bringing out details from that image is difficult in case of JPEG. But in case of RAW image, you have all the advantages of that file data which is available to you to pick up the necessary data to edit your image.
Okay.
This
one is a very Canon related question.
Yeah.
You want me to read it out, sir?
Bhavesh asked, sir, I'm planning to get a wide angle lens for my wide head perspective. I use the 80D 1018 but not happy with it on R. Is there a lot of difference between 1635 and 1740? Yes, 1018 is a crop sensor camera. But basically it's meant for crops. 1018 lens is meant for crop sensor cameras, but 1635 and 1740 are meant for full frame camera bodies. So what is happening in your case is when you're using it in R, so it is basically increasing though the focal length is remaining the same almost, but why is it that you're not happy with it? Because 1018 becomes almost like 1635 or 1740 in terms of full frame sensor. Rather,
ideally he should.
Because EOSR is a full frame camera, which you have an adapter. 80D is a crop sensor camera, and 1018 lens is meant for 80D only. It cannot be used on a full frame camera except for a mirrorless Canon camera, which with the use of an adapter. So it should become 1635 or 70. It should become equal to 1635 only when you are using a full frame body, or does it remain as 1018? Because I have not tried this option using a EFS crop sensor camera on a full frame body. So if it is remaining as 1018 only, you feel that focal length is still not changing, because 1635 is a full frame lens. So there could be some issue in that basically. But
no, the image circle is small, so you get vignetted edges. So if you put a crop sensor lens onto a full frame body, you get in certain aperture, certain focal ranges, you start getting a vignette. So it's exactly not advisable. Sometimes you can get away with, if you like vignette, you get away with it. So maybe that's the reason why he was 80D is a crop crop camera, but you
crop
have to,
camera.
Bhavesh, be very specific as to what is that you didn't like. Then
Yeah.
we probably will be able to,
But
kind of
in any
help.
case, but I'll suggest you for USR 1635 or 740, they are much better lenses in terms of quality also. In terms of the glass quality, when I say quality means I mean glass quality. 1635 has got two versions, f2.8, f4. So depending on your usage, you can buy either f2.8 or f4 version. And 1740 comes with the f4 version, so you can take a call.
Wonderful. Hey, Bhavesh, thank you. So a little more specific question will be able to help you better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Basse Edoho, he's from Lagos. He's a food photographer, and I bought the food photography session on Pixel Village. Oh, thank you. And I have played it over 10 times. Ravi sir, your session. And
Thank
it
you.
is so
Thank you so
simple
much.
yet solid.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ravi
Thank you so
Dhingra.
much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So
Glad you
I
liked
mean, it means a lot. Thank you, Basse, for your feedback. I hope I can, use this and put it on our website as a kind of an endorsement.
No,
here
this
is
is what
one.
this is what inspires. This is what is inspiring.
Absolutely,
basically, to
absolutely,
go further,
totally.
to share more knowledge with people.
Yeah. And here is cameraman India. I'm a sailor by profession. What gear would you suggest me to carry with me on my voyage? Since I can visit a whole lot of different places, capture the place, more like a minimal travel photography gear. So he wants a travel camera.
So basically, if you're kind of not doing it, going to do it professionally, but as a kind of like your hobby or amateur or maybe prosumer kind of a thing, then Canon has got this model, Canon EOS RP. And there's one lens which is 24-240, almost like 10x optical zoom. So RP with 24-40, I have used that particular thing. I did a trip with that particular camera. I made certain trips with it. Made certain trips with that particular RP. EOS RP, first of all, is a full frame camera. So full frame camera has advantages over a crop sensor camera in terms of low light, in terms of working in low light conditions. And this 24-40 is a very versatile lens. So Canon, our camera itself is very lightweight, the body is lightweight, and the lens is also not very heavy. So you have less than 1 kg, the camera and the body, and you can carry it along anytime, anywhere. It works perfectly in low light conditions, and you can, like, it's a perfect travel camera to buy. Since I'm a Canon Pro, so I'll suggest a Canon because I'm more aware of the Canon camera models, and since I've already used this particular camera, so I feel this camera is this US RP is not very expensive, and 24-240 is also not a very expensive lens. So combination works perfectly fine for travel photography. EOS RP and 24-40 lens.
Wonderful. Okay. Hemlata Saini, she's a regular in our session, all these live sessions. So, like other genres of photography, architecture photography is also preferable during golden hours.
Absolutely.
Actually, she's asking you a question.
Yeah, absolutely. Golden hours is quite good for architectural photography, because when we are talking of light and shadows, we are talking of detailing in the building. So when the sun is not high, sun is almost on the rise or almost setting, the sun is low, and you get nice long shadows. So that, and light is relatively softer during these hours. And secondly, it creates a nice mood also, like as the word said, golden hours. Golden hour means you get a golden kind of a look in your sky. Turns out sometimes very goldenish in color, or even on the main subject also you get this nice yellow warm glow that looks pretty nice. So generally when we do architectural photography, especially for clients, we do a recce, or we ask the client what is the face of the building. When you say facade of the building, we generally check. Sometimes we do make a visit also to understand which is the direction of the building, which direction the face of the building faces. So we choose the day accordingly, time of the day accordingly, either early morning or late evening, and we try to do according to the, like you rightly said, golden hours is a beautiful time to do architectural photography.
Great. Hemlata, hope you got your answer there. Stephen from Netherlands, he's saying, so we were talking about, how to learn. So he's saying he visits museums, he surfs social media, he looks photo books to get to educate himself. And the best way, he says, is to acknowledge the mistakes and be involved with it every day. Like you said, do photography on a regular basis, and attention makes your brain adapt, which basically he's trying to tell you that practice makes you better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Observation and practice, these are the two main areas where which never go out of your we should not go out of your mind ever. Keep on observing things around you even without the camera. Observe light, how it is falling, even if you don't have a camera. Start looking at objects around you. You don't have to go to exotic locations to take nice pictures. If I talk of my fine art work, most of these the chair picture, it's a very ordinary subject, but you don't really need to go to exotic places to get beautiful pictures. Things around you are beautiful. You just have to start observing them.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you very much. Harsh Bhatti is asking, is it important to have high refresh rate monitors?
I really may not be able to answer this because I think
I'll take that. So if you are into gaming and you want to play games, again, high refresh rate is very important. But if you are editing still images, a 60, 80 is good enough. After that, your eyes will start getting a fatigue. If it becomes extremely static, high refresh rates, your eyes will will be fatigued. If you are into video editing, yes, a decent high refresh rate will help you. But it is absolutely not necessary to edit still images. You don't really require very high refresh rates. If you are creating 3D animation, if you are creating 3D art, things like that, then a high refresh rate will help you. But otherwise, a standard refresh rate, which is like 60 hertz, is good enough for most purposes. But these days, high refresh rate monitors have become very affordable. Companies like Asus and BenQ, and even for that matter, Dell have started giving you very affordable monitors. Samsung has some monitor. And of course, if you want to start spending more money, and then you have the higher end monitors like EZO and Barco, and some monitors from HP are available.
There's one question I think which is going to answer a lot of questions which are coming in the front. Gautam Mandya has asked your gear for food photography, because there are some similar questions out there also.
Did we miss that question, or is it coming up?
It was there before the calibration monitor question. I think we missed out this question.
Okay, so can you please answer that?
There are some more questions after that also. So related to same gear for food photography. So for food photography, we like when you say there, in terms of body, it can be a crop sensor body or a full frame body. That doesn't matter. It is all about the lens which you choose to do food photography. So when we talk of lenses, there's something called a standard lens, a 50 mm normal lens. Then anything less than 50 mm is generally termed as a wide angle lens. So wide angle could be ultra wide, ultra wide, that range goes on. Same way, above 50 mm, the telephoto term starts working. So you have super telephoto zoom, ultra telephoto, high, big telephoto lenses. So for food photography, if you're using a full frame camera, any focal length between 70 mm to around 150 mm works perfectly well. Like you need to have a certain perspective when you talk of, there's something called optical distortion. Wide angle, when you see a scene at 50 mm full frame camera, that's how your eye see a particular scene. But when you see through a wide angle lens less than 50 mm, there's some optical distortion which takes place, which makes the things appear bigger. But when you're using a telephoto lenses, it kind of compresses space, because when you're working from distance between the subject and the camera, and the layers which are happening behind the subject, there's a foreground, there's a background. So you're talking of foreground, subject and background, and the distance is changing as far as your camera position is concerned. So you need a certain kind of perspective. So telephoto lenses give you a very nice perspective. Something like portrait photography, you must have heard that 85mm is a good portrait lens because it gives a nice perspective to the face. You don't use the 18mm lens or 20mm lens or 35mm wide angle lens for portraiture photography. You won't use anything above like 50mm maybe and 50mm and above for portraiture. So 85mm like is a very good lens for portrait. Same thing for food photography. Generally, I work between 70mm to around 150mm. So I've got a couple of lenses. I use a macro lens 100mm. I have a 70-200 lens which I use. Then I have a tilt and shift lens also. 90mm tilt and shift lens also, especially when you are very particular about the shape of the food. Let's say pizza. Pizza will look like oval. Pizza, though it's round, but it looks like an oval when you take a picture. So when you want to show pizza as a perfect circle, then the tilt and shift lens works. But most of the time I use 100mm and 70-200. So if you're using a crop sensor camera, so try to go above focal length of like 50mm or so. Like you have 80, even if you have the basic camera kit, which is like 1855 lens. So start shooting at around 50mm onwards, and if you have 55-250 kind of a lens, so use that lens more often. Another thing you have to take care is the distance. Like there's one question which was there at the stage. I'm just because since I'm talking about lenses, there was a question about focus stacking in food photography. Generally, focus stacking is needed when you want sharpness from the front till the end. And when we do food photography, I'm talking of a term called like telephoto lenses, use of telephoto lenses, 70mm to 150mm kind of a focal length range. The reason is that you are working from a distance. You're working from 3 to 4 feet distance minimum. And tilt and shift lens also helps in getting more sharpness without focus stacking. That is one other option, advantage of tilt and shift lenses. Generally, in food photography, we really don't do focus stacking. It's only in very small objects when you are very close to the subject, and especially something like jewelry, then you may need focus stacking. But in case you don't have a tilt and shift lens and you want sharpness from the front till the end, basically you want more depth of field, then focus stacking may be helpful. But distance, at least 3 to 4 distance, does help in getting more focus areas. But if your client wants that focusing has to be there from the beginning, from the foreground till the background, everything, then focus stacking may be needed. Because I don't suggest going above, like I work at around f11 or 16 at the most. I don't go beyond 16 aperture in food photography. 8 to 11, I work mostly between 5.6 aperture to around 11 aperture. In between that, because that gives me a good depth of field. I can keep my subject very sharp. Foreground can go slightly out of focus. Background can go slightly out of focus in those situations. And again, the trends keep on changing. Right now, the trend is that food gets more focus. Rest of things may get the foreground and background may slightly go out of focus. So for that, 5.6 to 11 aperture works fine. But if you are working at 11 aperture and you want sharpness from front to end, then you may need to go for focus stacking.
Hemlata is asking, how do we handle mixed color lights for food photography?
As I mentioned before, if you're shooting raw, then sometimes you are able to do editing while you can correct the color temperature while editing also. Generally, when I shoot, I generally shoot with either natural light or some artificial light. But the kind of artificial lights I use, they are again color corrected kind of lights. But when I say color corrected, they are white in nature. They're not yellow light. So when you're shooting in restaurants, the white balance becomes very important, because when you talk of restaurants, they generally use warm lights. They have yellow lights. So at that time, color is color balance is very important. White balance is very important. So you need to get the white right. If your white is correctly coming as white in your picture, then all the colors will also be accurate. Now the question is how to mix multiple lights. So for that, there's an option of custom light balance also. But I prefer the raw mode, where you have shooting in raw mode, where you have control over the editing part.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Hope you got your answer there, Ms. Saini. Anwar Tanawala is asking, Ravi sir, which lens have you been using for your interior shoots?
See, I'm using a full frame camera. So I started with 5D Mark II. Then currently I'm using a 5D Mark IV. So one lens which I bought when I bought 5D Mark II was 1740 lens, 17-40 lens, f4. Because when I shoot interiors, I'm not really looking at 2-point aperture, 2.8 aperture or 4 aperture or 5.6 aperture. Most of my interior shots are shot at f11 aperture. So for me, 1740 lens works perfectly fine. It is not a very expensive lens also as compared to 1635 f2.8 or maybe 1124, the new lens from Canon. So 1740 works perfectly fine for me. Though 1635 f2.8 maybe a better lens in terms of advantage of f2.8, but for my interiors and architecture photography, I really don't need f2.8. Because almost all my shots are taken on a tripod, where I'm not worried about camera shake, and I use f11 aperture so that there's overall sharpness in the frame, in the picture, the more depth of field. And wide-angle lenses generally have the tendency to give more depth of field as compared to telephoto lenses in terms of visually, basically. In terms of what you call as enlargement or magnification. So wide-angle lenses visually give you more depth of field. So f11 works perfectly fine for me. So 1740 is the lens which I've been using. And it's doing a good job so far.
Great. I know a lot of people who uses that lens range to do interiors. A lot of people, I mean, as a part of my hospitality shoots, I used to use the Nikon D850 with the 2040 PCE lens, the tilt shift lens, and I used to combine two shots together, stitch them together, and create like a good 90 megapixel image. Well, it won't be exactly 90, about 75 megapixel image. By stitching two images together, it will give you a nice panorama without any distortion. And Canon makes very, very high quality PCE lenses. They have another name for it. So there's a 16 mm,
right? There's a 28 mm, 20 mm, I think. And
there's also a
TSE,
16 mm.
They call it TSE, tilt and shift.
Tilt shift lens, Okay, so the Bhavesh who was talking about that 10, 15 lens and the NATD. So he's saying when he mounts a crop sensor lens onto a full frame body, he loses resolution. That's the problem.
That's what you said. That's what you said. The vignetting happening basically. You're using you're losing quality. So it's better to go for a 1740 lens or a 1635 lens, which is actually meant for a full frame camera. So since you have an adapter, so though there is a RF lens also 1535, but that's slightly expensive, slightly on the expensive side. So 1635 or 1740 lens is perfectly fine, where you will not lose the image quality. Resolution will remain as it is, the way what the camera is giving you. So vignetting is the item you use, Radha sir, because it's kind of making the edges dark. So actually you're not seeing the full image, you're seeing a part of the image only from the center of the image.
Yes. Yeah. And also certain cameras by default, the moment you mount a crop lens onto a full body, full frame body, the software automatically crops and it crops to avoid the the vignette. So let's say a 47 megapixel D850. I have a D850 which is 47 megapixels, and on which if you mount a 40 mm micro, which is like a micro beautiful lens, but it's a crop sensor lens. The moment I mount a 40 mm lens, I have two options. Fortunately, either I can set the menu to auto crop, or I can still shoot full frame and keep the vignette in. But the moment I shoot in the crop mode, 47 doesn't really become 36, which is supposed technically. I mean, if you use mathematics, that's what it'll come to. But what you will eventually get is only 19 megapixel. So technically, I keep using this as a mathematical example for people who complain about crop sensor cameras and say no, I need a full frame. A crop sensor camera with 24 or 26 megapixel resolution is probably equivalent to 60 megapixel full frame, because from a 47, if you crop down, what you actually get is not 36, you get only 19, or in this case 11. So technically, if you use that calculation backwards, if you are shooting with a 24 megapixel crop sensor camera, you're technically using enough resolution in there. There is enough resolution there to kind of give you a 60 megapixel image in full frame. Well, it's just it's a point of view. It's an argument. Mathematically, exactly right.
For a crop sensor camera, use the crop sensor lenses. You can use full frame sensors. You can use full frame camera lenses also, because ultimately you might be upgrading to a full frame camera. So your full frame lenses will work there, but shouldn't be the other way around, where you have a full sensor body and you're trying to use crop sensor lenses, because the image quality will definitely come down in that situation.
Okay. Hey, Gulzar. Hi, Gulzar bhai. How are you? Yesterday, he thought that we made a big mistake in Pixel Village by putting two double L, double I there. He was trying to warn me, saying that, please, my friend, take care. You messed up the spelling. And I said, no, it was intentional. It's a big part of my explanation is, I need to explain. I've been explaining to so many people that it is intentional. Gulzar bhai, I happened to meet a numerologist on my way to my, company registration. So he forced me to, change village to VIILAGE. So that's a long story short. He has a question. He's asking, any suggestions on lighting?
Okay, I'm going to touch all three topics here, since we're talking of food, architecture, and portraits. So give me 5 minutes. I'm going to talk about all these three things. As far as portrait lighting is concerned, we have these certain lighting principles which are there. Like you must have heard of terms like butterfly light, rainbow lighting, all those things. But my way of looking at things is a very different way. I divide the face into 4 equal parts. So one line divides the nose line here. One line divides the cheek line, and the other line divides the other cheek lines. We'll draw 4 lines actually, 1, 2, and 3. So you get 4 face get divided into 4 equal parts. So that's how I do my lighting. So either I light up the face fully, but when I light up the face fully, light has to go from front direction, but not exactly front top, because it gives you a nice shadow under the chin, and it gives you a nice shadow under the nose, and the cheekbones get slightly dark. In terms of, like, you must have heard of term called in makeup also they use this term where they actually make the cheeks slightly dark. So that front lighting from top give you the perfect result, where your face start getting a nice shape, the cheekbones slightly darker. And another lighting which I use is basically lighting up the face, giving 70%, 75% to the light to the face. Basically, light coming from
Ravi sir,
direction.
can you hold on for 1 second, please?
Sure.
Do you have multiple windows running on your computer? Do you have any other browser running or any other application running? Because there's a small lag in audio and video from your side. So if there is any other browser running, or if you have any other programs running which is using the network, then please, if you can quit, that'll be great.
No, there's nothing else which is there.
Nothing else? Okay, so it must be some unfortunate. This is a little bit of a lag. Okay, please carry on, sir.
So I was talking about the lighting. I divide the face into 4 parts. So one part is giving 100% light to the face, but slightly from top, which gives you a nice shadow behind the cheekbones. Other is lighting up the face 75%, like 3/4 light, 1/4 shadow. Then you have split lighting, 50% light, 50% shadow. Then you have 25% light, which acts as a kicker light, or which gives you highlights on the face. And then you have backlight, which gives you a nice halo around the head, around the hair. So I divide that's how I divide play around with the lighting. I think there's a whole this portrait lighting session on the Pixel Village which is available. It explain the concepts practically very well with the model, how each lighting affects your picture. So basically, I'm trying to work. I don't use the fancy names like butterfly lighting, or I don't use fancy like Rembrandt lighting, loop lighting, etc. For me, face is 100%, and I divide the face into 4 parts, and I divide the lighting. I accordingly light up the subject. Then let me talk about food photography here. Food photography is about light, shadow, and highlights. In food photography, highlights are very important. When I say highlights, food has to look fresh in your picture. So the highlights or the shine in the food or the gloss in the food creates that freshness in the food shots. So you need to create some kind of some kind of highlights. So you need to have a play of light, shadow, and highlights. So highlights are created when the lights are coming from behind the subject, not from the front of the subject. So for food photography, my main light is not from the front of the subject, but starts from the side and goes till the back of the subject. So it could be anything between side to back of the subjects, where I find the lighting is giving me the lighting which I'm using. The light which I'm using is giving me nice highlight on the food, nice shine on the food, nice gloss on the food, which is making the food look fresher. There was one question I missed. We missed. There was one question which says your food pictures looks you use very flat lighting. It's not that I don't use flat lighting. It's just that I don't want, as a style, I don't want food pictures where food should look dark. I use very soft light in food photography. So soft light gives you nice soft shadows, but you'll notice in all those pictures there's a soft shadow, then there's light, then there are highlights. Highlights is the gloss. If you see any of my food pictures, you'll always find a shine in the picture, a gloss in the picture. Basically, no harsh, no dark shadows. That's, you can say, it's a generally accepted thing, where people don't prefer high contrast food images. You may have a high contrast architectural shot, you may have a high contrast portrait, but generally in food, people don't prefer high contrast images. So lighting is not really flat, but the shadows are there, soft shadows, almost like when you talk of light ratio, we use something like a 2:1 kind of a light ratio. When I say light ratio 2:1, not much difference between the light and shadow areas. When I say 10:1 kind of a light ratio, that means there's a high contrast in the image. 20:1 is even higher contrast. So light is even, not perfectly even, not 100% equal from both sides, but there is a slight difference between shadow and light. But most importantly, there are highlights in the picture. There's a shine in the picture. And let me talk about architectural photography, interior design. I'm talking more of the interior photography, because in architectural photography, I've already spoken about the golden hour in the photography. That is preferred. If not golden hour, then we try to do shoot in the twilight time, but which is the blue hour photography, where sun is already set in or sun is about to rise. Most of the time we do shoots when the sun is about set in. It's the blue hour in architectural photography. When it comes to interiors photography, whenever a person designs, let's start thinking in terms of an interior designer. Now they use various kinds of lights in a room. Some of them are lights for illumination purposes, general illumination. Some lights are there to create the mood in a particular ambience. So as an architectural and interior photographer, it is very important that you maintain the mood. So whatever is the mood created by interior designers, because they sometimes specifically take the help of lighting designers also. There are some people who just design the lighting part also. So you have to take care of the mood which has been created by the lighting designer or the interior designer. You may take picture with the available light, or may use artificial lights to bring out details in the dark areas, but you have to ensure that whatever light you're using in the interior settings, they should not interfere with the lighting mood which has been created by the interior designer. Like you have a warm lamp glowing in one of the corner, and then you have a close kind of lighting in the ceiling. So each light is serving a different purpose. So your picture should correctly depict both the moods, the ceiling light as well as the lamp light, and they should be getting correctly depicted in your pictures. I try to answer all three genres, and all the details are definitely there in the detailed workshops. So you can have a look at those things also.
Okay. Okay, so you're that person, camera, I forgot, the sailor, he decided to go for your recommendation, the RP with the 2470. So he mentioned that.
24
and one more person.
24 to 40. Yeah, 24 to 40.
24? 240. Yeah,
240.
I think he has decided to go for that. He's saying.
Okay. Great.
Kamala Kanta Kamari is asking, please suggest a basic gear for food photography.
See, I think when you say basic gear, so I'm excluding mobile phones in this, because mobile phones give you a certain, they can work, but they have a limited range for certain angles. When you do food photography, you pick up an angle. When you pick up an angle, so cell phone cameras work at a particular angle very well, but at certain angles they don't really work. So I will suggest to go for a very basic level DSLR, just to start, in case your budget, you don't want to spend too much of money. So Canon 1500D is there, and you can go for 1855 kit and 55-50 kit. But if you're going for 1855 kit, then buy a 50mm lens with that, because 50mm lens it's not a very expensive lens. 50mm f1.8, it's a very good lens. It becomes approximately 80mm on the 1500D, which gives you a very nice perspective. So 1500D, a 50mm lens mounted on a 1500D will give you a very, very nice portfolio for your food photographs. Even if like 1855, shoot above 50mm, so that becomes above 80-85 mm. That's going to give you nice perspective. But you need a tripod. I'll always tell people that when you buy a camera, a good tripod is definitely needed when you want to do interiors photography, when you want to do food photography. Tripod, the advantage is that it gives you, first of all, images which are sharp in terms of no camera shake. Your camera remains steady. But for composition purposes also, in architectural interior, you're very worried about the lines, straight lines, horizontal lines, vertical lines. In food photography, when you see through naked eye, when you see through the camera, the looks change, the look of the picture changes. So you have to do certain times some fine tuning. The table is laid in front of you and you want to do some fine tuning. Then fine tuning, you can't every time you just change your camera position. So your camera has to be fixed at a particular point, your table is set at a particular point, then you do fine tuning and take a picture. Because every time you move with the camera, you will not be able to come back with the same position. So tripod is equally important for interior architecture and food photography. Portraits, yes, you can do handheld because your light is in your control. You do outdoor shoots or you do other things. But for architecture and food, architecture, interior and food, you definitely need a tripod.
Okay. Wonderful. One question is, which light modifiers are good for food photography?
So I'm going to give you a very a very important tip also here. I'm going to recommend a very, very expensive light out here, which is going to cost you 20 rupees. But before that, I'll tell you, Radha sir knows about it. We made that when we were doing the sessions, we made that expensive light in the studio. So first thing is, as I mentioned before, we need soft light for food photography. So when I say soft light, size of the light source matters a lot. So the size of the light source has to be bigger than the size of your plate or your food item. So nice softbox, 2 feet by 2 feet softbox also works perfectly fine. As long as you're getting a window light. Window light is like a window will always be bigger than your food plate size. So window lights works perfectly fine. So you need a soft diffuse light for nice looks in your picture. Then there's something called V card, V for victory, V card, which you can easily make at home. So what you simply do is, give me a second. I have that lying with me. I'll just show it to you. Give me a second.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, of course, one. Yeah. Okay, so well, he's going to pick up that that trick thing. In fact, he has demonstrated how to make a very cost effective, rather no cost, small reflectors using which you can work with lights in the studio. So he is back. Yes, sir, you're back in the. Yeah.
I hope, can you see this? So this is just a plain paper from out here, if you see. So this is basically a silver reflector. I've just put a gift wrapping paper, silver color gift wrapping paper on thick cardboard. So it becomes a V card. So it's self-standing card basically. So it acts as a nice fill light for me if the light is coming from the window from one direction. So basically, if you see, this is taking the shape of a V. So it stands on its own. Like if you see, I'll show you. It is standing on its own now without any support. So it gives you a nice feel, and it costs just 20 rupees to make. So I have made two of these cards. So wherever I feel the picture is getting a bit dark, because when you're using one light will give you a shadow on the other side. So you need to fill that particular shadow. And to fill up that particular shadow, you need a reflector like this. So you don't, even if you're working alone, since it is self-standing and you don't need an assistant to hold this for you. So I think spend 20 rupees today. I'm sure this kind of thing must be like at your home
very,
also.
very useful. Yeah, use many. I mean, I remember you making them in many different sizes, to get different type of reflection. Yeah,
because the ready-made reflector you get is around 3 feet long, 3 feet, 4 feet. So for a small table, small food item of 1 feet, 12 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches, you don't want to kill a housefly with a gun. You need something smaller in size. So you make these in 2, 3, 4 sizes. Wherever you feel that the subject is getting a bit dark, just put that there, and the light will get reflected back and give you nice soft fill light basically.
Okay, one question from Ravi Chandran. In portrait, where do you measure exposure reading? In forehead or shadow part of the eyes? Where to do spot metering? That's the question.
See, when you're, as I mentioned before, I divide the face into 4 parts basically. So nose line divides the face into 50-50. And cheek line basically divides the face into 4 equal parts. So when you're lighting 100%, so basically you're getting even kind of light. Like suppose you're doing butterfly light here. So your light is coming from top and front. Area around the eyes, because eyes express, that becomes the most important part. So your key light is around the forehead and around the eyes. So you take your reading around the eyes. Same thing happens in all kinds of portraiture. So light around eyes and light direction from which the light is coming from, that becomes more important. Exposure reading should be from not on the shadow side. You can do a spot metering also around the eyes, because even if you do 75% lighting, even then you'll see a small triangle happening under the eyes. So that part is also getting light. So that again becomes very, very important. So where the light is falling, in studio we use light meters. We again place it near the eyes, near the around that area, between the eyes and around that area, and that's how we take the reading.
Okay, Arup Boss is asking, how do you manage color grading? I'm sure he's referring to how do you color in post, or how do you grade the color in post?
It depends on the sometimes on the client brief also. Sometimes they want a particular look, but generally we try to keep the skin tones as accurate as possible. So, and most of the assignments which I do are for clients. So normally I give them a picture which is color corrected, where the skin tones are perfectly fine, and the color grading part, depending on where they're going to use the image, they accordingly convert. I think color grading is more relevant in the video, where the whole thing is, the whole look of the movie is done. Am I right, Radha sir? Or,
yeah, that's right. So depends on the requirement. You can grade them. We have shot in the middle of summer. We've shot images and grade them to make it look it was shot in winter. So because they wanted a wintry look, and it was two shots. This boy, I mean, supposedly in Canada during winter, and the grandparents here in India in a Delhi summer. They both talking to each other. It was a telecom company, and we wanted to give the wintry look of Canada, because they mentioned Canada in the ad. So of course both were shot one after the other, and in grading, we graded it cool to kind of convey the cool Canadian atmosphere condition, and here hot Delhi summer was conveyed by additional warmth in the picture. So without saying it in too many words, it was conveyed instantly. So like Ravi sir said, it all depends on the end requirement. So you can grade them. Yeah. So you can, if you are shooting for your, please go ahead.
No, please.
So if you are doing a commercial assignment, of course, take that brief in advance before you deliver your image. And also when you shoot, again, you need to be careful that you don't have any warm clothes in the image which you want to cool down. Similarly, no cool colors in the image which you want to warm up. So all these, pre-planning needs to be done. One. Second, if you're shooting for yourself, you can do the grading while processing itself, because you're the master, you're the one who's going to do that. You're going to be the creator, you're going to be the consumer too. So hence you can do the grading while you're processing itself. But if you're doing a commercial assignment, then I would say do the grading at the time of delivering the image, because once you finish the image, do all the touch-ups and compositing if it is necessary, and all that is done, then you do your grading. Grading is the last process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In any case, shooting in RAW always helps, because RAW editing is always what you call as the raw image file remains non-destructive. Non-destructive. So that's the best way. RAW is always better. So you can have multiple moods on a single image. You keep on, like, there are images which I have worked upon. Sometimes I convert them into black and white. Sometimes I convert them into sepia tones also, especially portraits. Portraits looks nice in sepia tones. Sometimes they look nice in black and white. At times color portraits looks nice. So when you have a raw image, you have the option to grade the way you want to do it. And later also today you like black and white, tomorrow you want to give a sepia look or some kind of a cool feel, bluish kind of a look. You can always do that at a later stage. So it depends on your mood also at that time. Like when you are working on the image, how's your mood? So I'm talking about the personal images right now, out here. Commercial assignments, as per the art director, whatever the art director is, the client has given you the message.
Yeah. Changadi Venkata Subramaniam is asking, sir, can you please explain HDR and its usage in architecture photography?
See, right now, both in architecture and interiors photography, HDR is quite used in terms of. When I say HDR, I'm not talking of HDR in camera. Like there are some cameras which give you the HDR option. When the light is even, then you don't need HDR. When the light is like average light, there are no variations of the light. Let's say at one point the light is 100%, the other point the light is 10%. So there's a variation of light happening. So the camera will not be able to measure all the lights properly, one shot basically. Even if you work with the dynamic range of the camera, then also some details can go missing, some bright areas can go missing, or some very dark areas can go missing. So when I say HDR, we use the term bracketing here. Bracketing means taking pictures with 3 exposures or 5 exposures with at least half stop difference between the various bracketing options. Like you take one picture at correctly, let's talk of three images bracketing. So one picture is correctly exposed, one picture one stop overexposed, and one picture one stop underexposed. So that's how you do it. So you've got 3 images, one correctly exposed as per the evaluative metering or center weighted metering mode, whatever you have chosen. Evaluative metering mode works perfectly fine here. So for 3 images, one overexposed, one underexposed, and one correctly exposed in terms of camera. But in your eyes, you want to bring out the details in the shadow areas and the bright areas also, because there's a lot of light difference which your camera is not able to manage. Especially this thing happens. Suppose you are taking picture, you're working in for a hotel project, and let's say you're shooting in Agra, and your hotel says that the room view is Taj Mahal. So how do you manage Taj Mahal view from the inside of a hotel room? Either you take big flashlights or studio lights where you match the internal light and the outside light. But when you try to match internal light with the outside light also, there's a possibility that you may change the mood of the room, the mood lighting of the room, because you're using external lights. So that may affect the mood of the lighting design mood, the mood which has been created by the light designer. So what you do basically is take one exposure of the room and take another exposure of the Taj Mahal outside, and then in editing software you work on layers and combine the images where you have 3 images or 5 images depending on the light variations. If you feel 3 images will do justice, you are able to get details in the light areas also and details in the shadow areas. You can merge these images and make them into a composite image. So HDR is basically high dynamic range. Camera also has a dynamic range, but this high dynamic range is basically blending of 3 exposure or 5 exposure images, where there's too much of contrast in the lighting, where there's too much of difference in the light inside, outside, or one part is very brightly lit, one part is very dark, and it's not an average kind of a light situation.
Yeah. HDR is probably not advised in every situation. Like you said, if there is too much of a contrast difference and you can't get it in one shot right, then yes. Go for your HDR. Okay, but like you said, instead of going for a composite HDR JPEG, go for 3 exposures or 5 exposures and then composite them in post. That would be a much better exercise, right? That's what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. And okay, now Nicolas DeCosta, he wants to know how to do white balance using a gray card on board a ship using a Canon camera. He know how to do it in 7200, which is a Nikon camera, but he wants to know how to do it in a Canon.
I think custom white balance, use custom white balance. Similar system works in Canon also. So we have option of custom white balance. You put that in, and generally custom white balance is required when your light sources are multiple light sources. When you have even lighting, then your camera auto white balance takes care most of the time. But when you have daylight and you have some other kind of light coming in, yellow light, then you need to do a custom white balance, because camera will get confused between the settings. So custom white balance option, you have this sliders kind of a thing. You can do that. Radha, sir, if you want to add on to this.
Nicholas, it's usually, it needs a little bit of a demonstration how to do it in Canon. I suggest that you do a simple Google on YouTube, how to do white balance using gray card on Canon. And if you can even key in the Canon camera model that you want to do, and you will get tons of videos. It requires a little bit of demonstration. Explanation may not be sufficient to explain.
You get the grid. You have that kind of a grid in the custom menu. Green, those magenta.
If we have to explain that, we need to become, those one of those municipality schools trying to teach chemistry. Suppose this is a test tube and pour sulfuric acid into it and add sodium chloride, and this will happen. Everything will have to be imaginary. There is nothing in front of us to, show it to you. So hence, since it requires a demonstration, it may not be appropriate or may not be correct to explain.
And especially another thing, I can start shooting raw. So a lot of times raw shooting will help in getting the right white balance in post processing also.
Okay. Your comments on DSLR versus mirrorless. Hemlata Saini again.
Yeah, mirrorless is the new thing. Like 3-4 years, last 3-4 years have been very good for mirrorless cameras. All the companies are coming out with mirrorless cameras. Advantage is that lighter in weight, smaller in size. So technology is evolving, and right now we are at a stage where mirrorless cameras are pretty good, and they are very much comparable to DSLRs. So future is in, I think, mirrorless are very. That's what I personally feel. Maybe 10 years down the line, you may not see a DSLR. It's going to be all mirrorless cameras only.
Quite
So
possible.
right now, there's a possibility because people are they don't want to carry big cameras, and small cameras are which are handy, and especially when you have shutter noise, shutter going up, shutter going down, all those things happening. Video recording is much better in mirrorless cameras. You get better frames per second in mirrorless cameras as compared to DSLR cameras. So future is mirrorless. So right now, if you're contemplating buying a camera, if you don't have a professional camera, you can go for a mirrorless camera because technology has evolved a lot in last 6 months or 1 year or so, I can say.
Why am I smiling? I have a mother of all cameras here.
Which one?
That's the 1DX Mark III. You know.
Because
Yeah.
Radha sir has shown this camera, I just want to add here. If you're really into action photography, sports photography, wildlife photography, real action photography, then I feel DSLRs are slightly better because there's no lag, shutter lag in between you're pressing the shutter and action taking place. So people who are into news, journalism, and sports, they still are going for DSLR camera. But if you're talking of food photography, portraiture, even weddings, also I've seen a lot of people are doing wedding photography with mirrorless cameras, architecture, etc. Mirrorless cameras perfectly work fine, but only in high action, high speed action. You need, I think, DSLR still have an edge over mirrorless cameras because everything is electronically collected. You don't have an optical viewfinder, you have an EVF, what is electronic viewfinder. So there's a small processing time till the time you see the image. It's though it is in microseconds only, but still you can miss that exact movement in mirrorless camera. That's what 20 frames per second.
16, 20. I need to go to the shutter up mode. Yeah. So this is the biggest, hottest baby now in the market. We just did a review. The collective viewership has gone above 1 million. And our English review is one of the largest watched reviews currently on YouTube. And we also did a language review for Facebook for Canon, and that's crossed about 600,000. So collectively, it's gone over a million.
You went to nature park for this, sir? If I remember correctly, you went to wildlife.
I went to a bird sanctuary to shoot, and I rented out extra long lens. I knew the USM 3 600 f4, and we were shooting with that. And we were shooting with that for a couple of days, and my triceps and biceps have started improving. But mother of a camera, one. Absolutely. And we are still yet to finish the video review on the video capabilities of the camera. You can actually make a feature film with this camera. This is one hell of a camera, and because of COVID, we suddenly got locked down, and this remained in the camera bag. We will immediately after the lockdown, we will start shooting that.
Have you tried image grab from video?
Oh yeah, of course. It's actually currently the full frame 5.5K raw is hell of a lot of information to handle, and it looked like it came out of a industry size digital film camera. It had so much of information, so much of elbow room to work with while grading. This is a dream camera. And cost a lot of money.
Cost is, but people who are passionate and who can
this is probably not for everyone. It's purpose built. It's for sports. It's for filming. It's not for everybody. They in fact made this for the Olympics, which never took place.
Unfortunately,
this was a purpose built for this Olympics. I mean, probably they even delayed the release. I'm assuming they delayed the release to time it for.
Because I went for the official release. It took place in, I think, January this year.
So we got it soon after that, and we made one video. Then everything went into lockdown. Okay, can you describe Canon EOS focus slow? Is it slow than? Oh, it's a relative question. Is it slower compared to a Nikon camera?
Not really, because I have not used a Nikon camera for quite some time. But I feel all companies, they make very good quality cameras. So you can't really. It's just a question of some feature present in one camera, other feature present in other camera. That is the only difference. But as far as the basic camera functioning is concerned, I think they work more or less in the similar manner. Because everything is comparable.
Okay. Vishal Bansiwal saying cost. Are you asking the cost of this this camera, the 1DX Mark III? I think it costs about 5.5 lakhs. I think that's the MRP, and I think. I'm sure. I don't know whether it is currently available, because when I last heard, they were due to delivery issues, they had stopped delivering. I'm sure it is available. If it's available, you will get some discount for sure. So, it'll be close to
around 5 lakhs.
Around 500,000 Indian rupees. It'll be the cost. Okay. All right. So, Hemlada, sir, 3 of my questions are still unanswered. Could you scroll up for them? I am slow writing my questions. I am slow reading questions too, ma'am. So I seems to have missed your question. Yeah, we asked all your questions. Maybe you went away from the screen. We answered your questions, almost all questions that I saw.
There's one interesting question which I see here. Mukesh Damodar has asked, sir, give us some idea about props you use in commercial food photography. So generally, when I say props, let's call our food as hero or the lead actor, and props are the side actors. So, but side actors also have a role to play. The role they play is basically giving boost to the lead actor. They don't distract, they don't take away your attention from the lead actor. So props have to be chosen in a way that they add to the whole composition. They should not be chosen in a way, they should not be in terms of colors, in terms of size, in terms of height. They should be chosen in such a way that main food gets the maximum attention and props get the lesser importance in the frame. So they should complement, not distract. That is the main thing you have to see when you are choosing props. So in terms of colors also, in terms of size also, you have to choose props accordingly. Yeah, I think I've answered this question, Mukesh. So generally, when we do commercial shoots, we hire food stylists also. So the role of the food stylist is to carry props. So the client gives us a brief and this is the look they want in the food photograph. So we share the same brief to the food stylist, who carry props accordingly, which includes the backdrops, the crockery, the cutlery, table napkins, table mats. So everything is very well coordinated. So nothing is out of place. Everything is related to each other. Like when you're shooting salad, maybe as a prop, you will not use a cup of tea with salad. You'll prefer to use maybe salad dressing or olive oil, something which goes with the salad. Same way with some dessert, you will not put ice cream or coffee. You will put some cherries or strawberries, something similar to that. So main food is the hero, lead actor, and other things are there to help the composition and to enhance the whole look of the photograph. So they should be chosen accordingly.
Okay. Okay, I think with that we've reached 2 hours into this discussion. We didn't notice. Yeah. So I think it is time. I keep saying that now. If I don't stop now, I will be thrown out of my house because few people are locked in that house and that room, and few people are in the other room. They will now want to come out and stretch their, it's running a live show like this every day from home is a little challenging. Thanks to my home people, I'm able to do that. But at the same time, I should not push them, beyond a point. And I think,
I agree. I think we both are occupying
I'm using the dining table. Even I'm using the dining table. So yeah. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in today for this wonderful session by Ravi sir. Ravi sir, thank you very much for your time. And we shared all the coordinates of Ravi sir. Is there in his presentation. The first slide itself is where you can find him. Some people are asking for Ravi sir's food photography samples. Well, I think you missed the first part of his presentation. Please go and watch. Just rewind. This video is going to be live. It's going to remain on Facebook and YouTube forever. And so that you can go back and watch them. You can watch Ravi sir's presentation. Towards the beginning, he had actually given you all that information: his food photography, his architecture, his portraiture, and his fine art photography. Okay, so thank you again. VIILAGE has 2 eyes, much need. 2 eyes, much needed. Thank you very much. That's a good observation. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, Anwar bhai, thank you very much. Thanks, Niyamul Raut. Niyamul is from Bangladesh. I keep seeing him every day. Thank you very much. It must be like a good 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock in your part of the world. But probably even darker. 8:30, 8:30, I think. Anyway, thank you very much for joining in. And like I said, we will be back tomorrow with this wonderful session. P.V. Subramaniam will be talking to us from Austin, Texas. I think he's in Austin, Texas. That's what I think he is. Anyway, it's immaterial. He's somewhere in America. And he's going to be joining in. And he's going to give you his... he's so... I mean, he will talk to you everything from analog fine art photography to wedding photography, because he does professional wedding photography too. And he will talk about his life, his photography, his beliefs, his teaching. He's a very good teacher too. So please be present, share this information with your friends, spread the word so that more people join us and everyone can benefit from the session. And thank you very much. Niyamut saying 7:30 there. Oh, it's only 30 minutes ahead of us. Half an hour ahead of us. Okay, so it's not late for you. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope the session was useful. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoyed it
thank
too.
You so much, yeah.
No, you. Thank you for your time. And the request to all the viewers is to spread the word around. Tell the world tell your friends about Pixel Village and what we do at Pixel Village YouTube channel and Pixel Village online photography education platform. And let's learn together. Bye for now.
Just one last question. One person.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, 200D Mark II and 50mm is a good combination. So this
Oh,
question was
somebody asked
happening
that question, is it?
four times. Somebody asked, Gautam, I think, asked this question. So just to end, yeah, 200D Mark II is one of the best cameras, which is a new camera which was launched last year only, along with that 50mm. It's a very good combination. I have used this camera. In fact, my review is there on my blog also, ravidhingra.wordpress.com, 200D review. So 50mm, 1.8 and 200D Mark II is a very, very good combination. Go ahead with that.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I usually end the session by requesting everyone to show restraint. Stay safe. Don't be adventurous. This is the most difficult time and the most dangerous time in this whole COVID situation. So don't venture out unless it is absolutely necessary. Wear your mask, wear your gloves. Otherwise, stay at home. Take care of your family, take care of the elders at home. Enrich yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, professionally, everything. Currently, you can't enrich yourself financially, so enrich yourself in all possible other ways. And this will be over, like many other things.
Yeah.
Even this will pass away. Even this, yeah, they shall pass. So with all that, let's end today's session, and I shall meet you again tomorrow, same time, with another mentor. Bye for now.
Okay, bye. Stay safe and take care. Bye.